Yeah.
Yeah.
This fight thing. Casey, this actually would go well with that other music you were playing. Just saying. Something to throw out if you're trying to remix a little later. We don't need no remixes because we in this business. That's right. It is Saturday night and it's all right for fighting. UFC Vegas 89 coming at you in about a half hour. And so you know what that means, kids? It's the pre-fight Q&A. This is your show. We're just here. And when I say we, I mean me, Jed Meshew. You can see the name right there. I'm a writer for MMAfighting.com. It's a great damn website. And I'm joined, I would say as always, because he is the staple of these pre-fight Q&As, the man himself, the sleeveless wonder, Mr. 3024, E. Casey Leydon, the producer extraordinaire, man's on the ones and twos, and not a sleeve in sight. Thank you. Some cauliflower here, but no damn sleeves.
Let's go. Apex fights, baby. Apex fights.
Ooh. 89 of them. Actually, it's like 13. But that's what it is, y'all. UFC Vegas 89. Half hour from now. So until then, we're going to shoot the crap. And y'all are going to shoot it with us. You're going to dictate what we talk about on this absolutely magnificent Saturday. I don't know about you, Casey. It is gorgeous in the A right now. Just got done hanging out with a bunch of people. Couldn't be more excited to come inside from the wondrous outdoors to sit and watch Montserrat Rendon take on whoever she's fighting. Daria Zelenikova. That's right. So stoked about that. If you got questions about that, get them in the hopper. You guys, at this point, you should know how it works, right? If you got super chats, fire them in. They'll go right to the top of the queue. If you don't, I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't have a lot of super chats about this particular card. But if you're here with us, that means you got nothing else going on this Saturday. So let's chat about it. Let's chop it up. We'll get in, we'll get in there and see what we can talk about until who's making the walk first. Mick Parkin will be making the first walk against Mo Usman to kick off a night of a lot of fights, 13 fights in the Apex. Capped off, I guess we should go there, by Rose Namajunas versus Amanda Ribas, which is actually a very good fight and a meaningful one. So at least we're ending the night on a strong note. Casey, do we have anything in the hopper already, or should I just tell you my thoughts on the main event?
No. This is for the fans, not you.
I was just asking.
It's not about you, man. It's the fan Q&A, not the Jed Q&A, man.
It's true. True words.
All right, we do have a super chat right now from Jamek, whatever. Here we go.
Jamik Vassell. Thoughts on Brian Barberena getting cut? Casey, before I answer this, have we confirmed Brian Barberena was cut? Because I have not checked with our news team for the last day and a half. I know that was being talked about internally, that the roster watch bot, which is kind of the first thing to say, a number of these names, seemed like that most of those were released or fought out their contracts, but I just don't know if we had confirmed Barberena's exit.
There can only be one Bam Bam in the UFC, I guess.
Well, there are two.
Well, no, now there might be only one now. That's what I'm
saying. Assuming that this is true, which I think it is true, how do you feel about that case?
4-fight losing streak. Dos Anjos, Gunnar Nelson, Muradov, and then Gerald Meerschaert. Of Meerschaert finishing him. Total record of 9-10 in the UFC. Almost got the 20 fights in the UFC. That's just how it goes. Happy trails. I'm sure he'll be able to get fights elsewhere. Maybe go for that $1 million up in the Professional Fighters League at some point. But like you said, you kind of said when you lose 4 fights in a row in the UFC, that's pretty much
it's bad.
You're bad. Yeah, that's just a bad sign. And Meerschaert, I think, being that kind of that last level gatekeeper, that kind of top 25, I guess, gatekeeper. And honestly, Barberena, I don't know why he was at middleweight. He always looks like a regular size welterweight. I'm not sure why he was at middleweight. So I enjoyed his fights. What was his really good fight? I remember he had a really good fight one I remember one of his
Matt
fights.
Brown and Robbie
No,
Lawler were both
Vicente
very good
Luque.
fights.
Him versus
Also,
Vicente
Vicente
Luque.
Luque was a very good
It was
fight.
it was a loss. He still had a loss, but it was an excellent fight for that was UFC and ESPN one. But yeah, I
That
don't know.
was that fight to tease a little bit. We got a feature coming out in a few weeks here as we on the road to UFC 300. Don't want to say too much, but that fight ended up being my number 9 fight in the UFC since UFC 200.
Oh
I mean, that fight is electric. So
yeah,
yeah, a bit surprised he got cut just because he's one of those dudes who's always down to clown, fun, exciting fighter. But I think what this has done, assuming this is true, by the way, it's opened the door. Let's get this man in BKFC. It's not like Brian Barberena's
yeah.
doing a lot of the grappling arts. BKFC feels like a natural home for him. We can get to a Brian Barberena, Mike Perry spot, like not immediately. Let's let him wet his feet in there. But I would be a little surprised if that's not his next home, and I'm here for it. I feel like Brian Barberena makes a ton of sense in the BKFC ring.
Yep. Yep. Happy trails with Brian Barberina. And we have
Happy,
another super chat
it was super chatting with you, Jameek.
from Trevor.
Trevor Hassel, higher ceiling, Simon or Talbot? Thanks, boys. Casey, I think this is a great question. Let's go to you. I want you to lead off here while I kind of think myself through this.
I think we're gonna find out more about Talbot. Talbot? Is that how you say it? Talbot. Talbot. Talbot
Talbot.
tonight. Talbot tonight. The first fight, I didn't rewatch it yet. I did place place close attention to it the first time, but he looks good. I feel all I feel about this fight is this is one of those fights that it's just kind of in the middle of the card on a throwaway Apex card, but in about 5 years we can go look back at this fight because, oh my God, these guys fought then. That's how I kind of see this fight. I'm kind of surprised this fight's even happening. Honestly, I don't really like two prospects fighting on a kind of a throwaway Apex card like this. But I'm going to say Talbot has a higher ceiling, but I just don't know, to be honest. I am picking him to win a decision tonight, but I'm just, that's more vibes, to be honest.
I'm picking Peyton Talbot tonight. I think he is just a little bit better positioned right now. If we're going ceiling, though, I can see an argument for Simon. I mean, he's a couple years younger, and that's just a huge benefit to him. I don't think he's quite the athlete Talbot is, but I mean, he's still not a bad athlete. He's probably a plus athlete for the weight class. Big, already has a pretty good amount of experience for being 23 and with a good camp. He's out of DDP's camp. Clearly, they know what they are doing to some extent. So I might give Simon the edge on ceiling. Also, the way he fights has been a more reliable predictor, sort of success in the UFC. But I think, I mean, both of these dudes are just talented and young, and so it's really hard to feel super confident on which guy can do more. You know, but yeah, this is if you see behind me, Casey, the fart score for UFC Vegas 89 is 2 farts. Half of those farts come from this fight, or I guess not half, a quarter of the farts come from this fight. I didn't feel like because it is a prospect fight, almost definitionally, this is a replacement-ish level fight. So I gave it a half point, and then Billy Q's going to get his own half fart as well, just because he's on the card and that rocks. But yeah, this is one of the better outcomes of or better fights of the evening, and I'm insofar as I'm excited about anything tonight, this is one of the things I'm excited for.
Do you? I know we're excited about this fight, but do you think this is Do you think this is good matchmaking this early in these guys' career? Maybe it's bad matchmaking for the guy that loses. I don't know, but do you like that? Do you like this type of fight this early into their UFC career?
I don't mind it this early in the career. I dislike prospect v prospect fights when they're a little further along because I think for the same reasons you do. If it's this early, it's kind of okay to me to be like, hey, these dudes are just getting their feet wet in the UFC. Which one of them is the better prospect? And then they can meet down the line, but I just like doing prospect v prospects when they're top 20-ish, because it's just like, all right, even if they lose another win over a top guy, now they're back in the mix together, and it's just a weird situation. They're both so far removed from that position that I'm totally okay with them running it like this and just seeing like, oh, this guy's the better prospect right now. We'll see how they develop moving forward, and maybe they rematch down the line. So I'm okay with this one.
It'll be interesting, but if Simon does lose, that'll be 2-fight losing streak this early into his career. I mean, he won't get cut no matter what. I think if he loses tonight, but that's tough. It's just tough in a 2-fight losing streak this early into his career. But he did come in, so he won 3 in a row and then lost to Christian Rodriguez, who just remind me how that fight went. Do you remember Rodriguez?
I do not recall this fight at all.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
My recollection is that Simon could never get his grappling game going, and then that fight was boring. But that could be all the way wrong.
Yeah. Okay. But all right. But thank you very much. Got another super chat from Lazy.
Thanks, Trevor.
Thank you very much, Trevor.
Lazy's a staple of the super chat and these shows. Jed must work overtime because he beasted 25-8. That's right. For my money, one of the greatest nicknames in MMA history. And Corey Anderson, I don't care that he won yesterday. I'll never support him because he went away from one of the greatest names in MMA history, and that's a fail. You guys don't even know because you don't even know the work me and Casey were putting in yesterday after hours, grinding. You're going to find out about that work. You're going to find out about it tomorrow. It's electric. You're going to love it. That's all the teasing I'll do for it. But keep your eyes tuned to MMAfighting.com, terrific website, and the MMA Fighting YouTube channel because tomorrow we got something dropping for you.
If anyone in the comments can tell us why Corey Anderson dropped the Beast in 25-8, because that is one of the best nicknames ever. I was just talking about that yesterday with my lovely wife, Esther, and we're like, man, Beast in 25-8, what a great nickname. I love it.
It's just deeply, deeply awful that he got rid of it.
I'm so mad at him. Even though he had a solid win yesterday, I will bump him down in the rankings because of this. Sorry.
Was the win solid? I'll be honest, I did not watch it at all yesterday, so I saw the highlight because we were doing that thing. I then saw the Pitbull finish, but I did not exit the thing we were doing and be like, I'm going to go turn on a Corey Anderson fight. I was like, it's Friday night. I'm going to go do some things.
Understandable. It was a Corey Anderson type of victory. Carl Moore was, I wouldn't say piecing him up on the feet, but he was winning on the stand-up, which I think people expected. But once Anderson was able to work his wrestling and his top control, it was pretty much one-way traffic. And it was a 25-minute decision. Nothing, not fight of the year, not fight of the night, but a solid win from to me, a very, very, very good light heavyweight. And he is new Bellator.
That is what Corey Anderson is.
Yeah. It was he is now officially finally the Bellator light heavyweight champion, excuse me. I
don't know what that means, but yes.
Who knows? We had a belt, so congratulations, Corey.
Hey, love a belt. Belts hang forever, you know?
All right.
Thanks, Lazy Bed.
Thanks. Oh, man, super chats are rolling in. Here we go. We got one from
people
Trevor.
Are excited about Vegas 89.
Yeah.
Trevor Hassel again.
Oh.
It's pronounced Hazel. Wow. You could have given me a lot of guesses. I'm not ever getting a hard Z sound out of that S, but I do apologize for that. What do y'all think about the Zalal line? Dude got steamed hard. Let me check what the line's at if he got steamed so hard. I have not looked. I've got my bets in early this week and have not. This is like one of the few weeks that I was talking to Shaheen about this, Casey. I think this is actually the first Apex card I've worked this year, which has been terrific for me as a person. But it also has meant that I've worked every Monday through Friday this year thus far, basically. So this was the first week I had some days during the week off, and I was checked all the way out. So the Yusuf Zalal is now minus 130. Billy Q plus 110 right now. Wow, that number moved. Billy Q, I got him at minus 155. That is a lot of action coming in on Zalal. I don't understand why. Like I said, I took Billy Q at minus 155. So, Casey, any thoughts on why the public has decided Yusuf Zalal is going to beat Billy Q?
That's a shocker. I don't know. I don't know. I,
Trying to.
I'm very confident Billy Q will win this fight. A tough comeback to the UFC fight for Mr. Zalal. Right, he's coming back. This is his first fight back, right?
I
He got
want to say that this is
released.
his first fight back. Yeah, because he spent the last year or two in Sparta. He got released after. He had a decent start to his UFC run and then lost three in a row and then had a draw with Damon Blackshear in his bantamweight debut. Um,
So
I
yeah. So he's back at
Trevor, it's a great question. I honestly don't know why the line would be moving this way. I was trying to log in and like look around and be like, did Billy Q miss weight? Like what? I mean, somebody clearly has placed a sizable wager, or a few have come in on him, but I don't know what they know that I don't. You know,
yeah. And Billy Q's coming off the knockout loss to no. I'm sorry. Oh no, he had oh no, sorry. He defeated Damon
he beat
Jackson.
Damon Action's Action.
Yeah. It's just that loss at Edson Barboza was just so brutal. I just the Jackson fight didn't even happen. I'm
Yeah,
still thinking that the Barboza lost because
but
it was
that's the
such.
thing to me. Like, I could understand Billy Q being like, okay, people doubting him coming off the Edson win, but he has already rebounded. And Damon Jackson is very tough, dude. Maybe not the
Quality. Yeah.
best guy, but like a guy who's a hard out. And it was a solid performance from Billy Q. I don't know, man. People know something I don't.
Yeah. And uses the law. I don't remember his fight against Blackshear. A split loss against Sean Woodson, and then two unanimous decision losses to Sung Woo Choi and the champion before he was champion, before we knew how good he was, really, Ilya Chapora. So he did last 3 rounds with Ilya Chapora, but yeah. Eustace Law, welcome back
I
to the UFC. You deserve to be here, and enjoy your fight tonight.
Here's what I'll say. If we get some sort of real super weirdness, like was it Shailin Nurmagomedov and Derek Minner? That was the fight, right?
Oh
The
yeah,
fight that ultimately got James Krause in trouble. Like if something real weird happens, like Billy Q walks out there and can't like immediately can't fight like Derek Minner did, uh, I'll have some questions because the sort of deep line movement with that, but I assume that that's not going to happen, and this is just one of those things. So if you like me and Casey think Billy Q can do some good things, friends over at DraftKings.com, promo code the MMA Hour, Billy Q plus 110 right now. You can have
all
that.
right, all right. I got a super chat from London from Fahim. I'm assuming it's London or the UK because it's got the little. Wait, that is that the pound sign? What is that? Am I just making that up?
No, yeah, you
Okay.
you right. Sorry, I was answering some things from Eric, doing multiple things back here. Fahim, seeing a lot of fighters nowadays having YouTube channels. Does that affect journalist jobs such as you, smart group of gentlemen? Casey, certainly you can have a different opinion. I would say no. Honestly, to some extent, it makes it easier for the low hanging fruit part of our jobs, right? Um, so there's certainly a piece of the writing aspect of this that is just content aggregation. That is, hey, who said something that we can fill out the file with functionally, and guys like Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo getting into a podcast, having more interviews, maybe getting more fighters to come out and speak some things. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, particularly because maybe the space they'll say something different than the way we would ask them questions. Um, so I don't think that it affects our jobs in any negative way, other than like, I mean, we could get into the real weeds of like the long-term media industry and how, and this is not just germane to MMA. Frankly, it's germane to all sports at this point, but the blurring of lines between PR and journalism and just the unwillingness of athletes to speak with adversarial news entities. But we're just here for good vibes, guys. We're not here to talk about the death of journalism.
Yeah. I think as far as this question goes, once social media came about and fighters started basically spreading their not spreading, but putting out their own news via their own social media accounts, it's no real difference. Like we don't need to get an interview to get, how a fighter felt about a loss. They'll just tweet it out or throw it on Instagram or whatever. And YouTube is just another outlet for fighters to express themselves. And I'm assuming a few of them are actually making some cash too, doing breakdowns and things like that. So, yeah, as far as our jobs,
Yeah.
I don't see anything. Good on them. Yeah.
Yeah, look, if fighters can find a way to monetize outside of their careers, they need it because they're not getting a big payout from the UFC because they settled for 300 mil. Boom.
Jeez. That was this week.
Sure
Right?
was. Sure was.
All right.
But thank you, Fahim.
Thank you. Super chat coming in from Hadi.
Hottie. 25 SAR. I don't remember what this is, but I feel like I've done this before and I gotta be better about this. Rose's biggest weakness is decision making, question mark. Pat Barry is head coach and switch to flyweight. I'm going to adeptly sidestep the Pat Barry landmine because I don't think there are many positive things to say going on there. The switch to flyweight, I don't think is necessarily bad. Honestly, bad decision making though. It certainly didn't work out for her in her debut against Manon Fiorot. I will point to a couple of things. One, she got injured early in that fight. No excuses. Injuries happen. You just got to those are the breaks of fist fighting professionally. But I think if they ran that back, there's absolutely a world where she wins that fight. Two,
Yes.
don't know if you know this, Manon Fiorot, very good fist fighter for this weight class. Is fighting essentially a title eliminator bout next weekend. Like losing to Manon Fiorot, when you are clearly giving up some size as she was, no shame in that, particularly a competitive loss like that. Yeah. I do think I listened to the preview show. I do think I agree in large part with that. I think that there is a world where she can beat just about any woman at flyweight in any time. Being said, I think Rosa's biggest weakness, maybe you could call it decision making of a sort. She is one of the most mercurial fighters we've ever seen compete at a high level. Her ability to show up in the biggest moments is incredible, but she has also just been prone to faltering in major moments as well. She is honestly not that dissimilar to Randy Couture in those respects. Like people think of Randy as a legend because his highs were so high. They were such marquee moments. And Rose is a lot like that. And they don't think of all the times Randy got his ass beat because he could come up with a good game plan, but sometimes he couldn't execute or he had an off night or whatever. Rose has that to her. That's how she lost to Carla the second time, was just by having an inexplicably bad fight when the light shone brightly. So that's sort of baked into her, but I think that's pretty clearly her biggest weakness is not being able to show up at her absolute peak time, like every time out, because that is legitimately the thing that separates the all-time greats of the sport from the very goods of the sport,
Yeah, that's why for me personally, I have Demetrius Johnson as my GOAT because night after night after night, he showed up and has obviously at her peak, at her best. Rose Namajunas is clearly an all-time great. Could be probably the best flyweight, maybe the best strawweight in every night when she's at her best. But she doesn't show up at her best some nights. And it's not just injuries; it's just and we're gonna find out tonight. Like tonight, she should beat Ribas, but you don't know. You just don't know.
But you just never know. You just never know. Yeah. You like. There have been so many times we've said about Rose, all right, now she's going to put together the run. Now it's going to happen. She's got her head on straight, and then she comes out and there's the Carla Esparza fight, and you're just like, I don't know what to do with any of this, man. She can be a deeply frustrating fighter to watch. I think there is an argument that she is transparently better as an underdog. Because when I was listening to the previous show and you guys were talking about her last knockout, realistically, like Rose Namajunas' 2 knockouts, the knockouts that we think of, right? The only ones that are really like super substantive to the story of her career are Joanna and Wiley, and they both came in the same circumstances when she was an underdog title challenger.
And one shot too.
And
It wasn't
out
like
of nowhere. Yeah.
yeah,
Just
kind of
like,
one shot, boom, out of nowhere. Yeah.
yeah, out of nowhere. And then the rest of it, I mean, those are the two knockouts of her career, were the biggest stage when she was not anticipated to win. And when the circumstances are not that way, she is not the same level of fighter. And that's one of those things you would hope to kind of do better if you're her coach, to be like a thing. All right, we're going to make sure we show up. But dude, half the battles between the ears. And sometimes it's harder than it looks, you know?
Yeah. It'll be interesting tonight. Her fighting in the Apex, which is going to be different. She hasn't really fought in front of a small crowd like that since, I believe, maybe the Ultimate Fighter finale was probably at like the Palms or something. No, it wasn't at the Palms. It was at I was there that night. It was at MGM or Mandalay. So it's been since 2014 that she's fought in a kind of a small venue like this. That being Ultimate Fighter, kind of the house fights. So I think the Apex will actually be good for Namajunas, I believe. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting fight. I like it. It's a good main event. And that, to me, this should have been her. Do you believe this should have been her first flyweight fight?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So that depends, right? Because I heard you guys talk about that yesterday. I think pretty clearly, if you're just looking at the long-term career path for her, yes. I think pretty clearly they were trying to shotgun her into a title fight, right? If she beats Manal, it's easy. You know, it's super simple. She didn't, so now we're in this separate room. And now we can go on the more obvious, all right, you're going to be a flyweight fight. We're going to do that.
All right. Lots of super chats coming in. Hold on. Here we go.
Great. We'll get to them. Woo, I've just been accessed into our Twitter. I'm excited about it.
This one's for me.
This is for you, Nameless. Yeah. Casey, fire away.
Casey, are you going to the No Values Festival in Pomona?
What is that, Casey?
It is a one-day big old punk rock festival featuring a bunch of old-timey bands. Got the original Misfits, Social Distortion, Iggy Pop, Turnstile, who I love. Oh, wait, hold on. We have company. Say hi.
Woo,
we have special guests. That's my wife. No, but we have another guest. Come here. Just poke your head in.
Who's the other goat?
This is Wendy. This is the wife of ESPN blogger Mark Raimondi. And see,
Wendy, we're gonna be friends soon.
They're gonna be. I'm talking to Jed. He lives in Atlanta, and you're gonna be living in Atlanta soon too.
Wow! Oh, maravilloso! Amazing!
All right, get on my shot. We're talking. All right, Wendy. Sorry.
This is a guess. It's important.
Sorry. Back to the punk rock tour. The original Misfits, which I've seen before with Glenn Danzig. I saw him a few years back. It was awesome. Social Distortion, I've never seen. Iggy Pop, I've never seen. Turnstile, who I've never actually seen too. I love Turnstile. Bad Religion, not a big Bad Religion fan. Sublime,
Bad Religion.
Not into them. Dillinger Escape Plan,
you're not into Sublime. You've lived in California how long?
Oh, I'm very. First of all, I've seen Sublime twice when Homeboy was still alive. So Bradley. So I saw him twice. So I saw him in a small club and I saw him on the Warped Tour years ago. But I'm just not into him anymore. But I get it if you're into him. I love him. I'm not hating. Dillinger Escape Plan. Ooh, the return of Power Trip, which is awesome. I assume they have a new singer. The Damned, Joyce Maynard, Suicidal Tendencies, who I've never seen. The Vandals, I have seen. Black Flag, TSOL, Viagra Boys. How many of these bands? Am I just saying random words?
No, I mean you are. I saw the last one, whatever that one, but up until Black Flag, I have listened to albums of everyone you have talked about. I had a punk phase for a little bit in high school, so
my punk phase is still going. My punk phase is still going.
I mean,
you love the Vandals?
I still listen to them, but yeah, Hitler Bad, Vandals Good, terrific album.
I did.
Terrific album.
I'm gonna send it to you. I did in college, I did a music video, a music video contest for the Vandals, and we shot
Really?
a music video back when I was doing music videos a lot more. Exploited, Fierce, playing the Addicts, L7, the Dickies, Agent Orange, the Adolescents.
Oh, Agent Orange.
Yeah, Agent Orange, Crass is
I was saying,
apparently playing too.
I didn't know Agent Orange
Fishbone,
was still around.
they're still around. Yeah. But to answer your question, if someone throws me some free tickets, I probably will go. But I'm just not big into festivals anymore. I like small, dirty clubs with a really dangerous
I
environment.
would go. If I was there, I would go.
If I get $25 tickets, I might go. But it is a cool tour. If you're going, have a great time.
I'd listen to.
Yep.
I think our broadcast has started. Let's see where we're at in the broadcast. I have to pull it up now. So if you hear the thing.
But thank you,
There's
Nameless.
Brendan Fitzgerald. Oh, yes. Thank you, Nameless. Let's fire through these because the broadcast is up, which means fights will be making walks soon.
All right. We got a few super chats to get through.
But let's fire through the super chats so we can get to that. Keelis Jr. Thanks, buddy. Happy to have you. Jed and his terrible takes. Love Rate My Parlay. Parkins, Johns, Ramos, Dobson, and Rose. I think there's a really solid chance your parlay is dead at the very outset. I am not confident that Mick Parkin's going to win. It wouldn't shock me if he did, right? Like 8-0, big heavyweight. But Mo Usman also can just sort of tackle you and sit on you for a while. Other than that, I think I like all the sides of it.
Did you go Dobson? You went Dobson over?
I don't like the Ramos one either. I will say. Who did I pick? I did not pick Dobson. I don't think. I think I picked Shabazian. But also Shabazian's lost a bunch, and like I just have no confidence in him winning. So it's okay. I don't know what you got that rate at, but good luck. Always good luck. I want nothing but success for my friends and my haters, Achilles.
Yeah. We're probably not going to talk too much about Shabazian until after the fights, but if Shabazian does lose this fight, this will be without a doubt his lowest ranked loss of his career to someone like
I mean, he's
Dobson.
lost to good dudes.
And he lost, and like I kind of mentioned in the previous show, I picked him to beat Fluffy Hernandez, but Fluffy Hernandez kind of just proved me wrong, and I think Fluffy Hernandez is actually just much better than what I thought he was. And
Fluffy Hernandez has vastly exceeded most people's expectations.
Yeah,
I think.
So and Fluffy's done that to me a couple of times. So I'm not going to hold too much on against that. I'm not going to hold that against Shabazian too much. But
he's still young.
Shabazian?
This would be a daunting loss. So he's still 26. He's young.
Yeah, he's only 20. Yeah, you're right. Only 26. But if it's a bad loss, like how all of his losses are essentially the same type of loss, he just kind of wilts under better grapplers eventually.
Yeah. I will say, the move to Extreme Couture, I think, is a decidedly good move. Obviously, he was with Extreme Couture in the Fluffy fight. But again, Fluffy is just, I think, way better than we thought Fluffy was. So, still young. We still see it, but I agree. Tonight's going to tell us a lot about him.
Yeah. If he rolls through Dobson, then we can say, okay, Shabazian, no, he's still a player. If he loses tonight, then he might be just a middleweight, unfortunately. So there we go.
Yeah. Or fortunately, people love middleweight.
This is true. They make a decent living in the UFC.
Casey Carpenter, what if Bellator was on Max 2 years ago? I would say they'd be in better shape. Can't say that definitively. I also think that there are just fundamental issues with the product. But I mean, y'all know if you've been watching this YouTube network for any amount of time, I repeatedly laid into Bellator for being on a fake network, which is Showtime. I think HBO is clearly a step up from that, just as far as eyeballs to broadcast to, and sort of carving out their own niche in HBO Sports functionally. There's more cachet there as well, but I'm not confident anything would have fundamentally changed. Casey, we got to fire up because our boy Joe Martinez is announcing because they walked into the cage without telling us.
Someone text Joe and they're gonna have to wait because we have more super chats. I'm sorry.
All right. Let's work through them. Alex Alberto G. Am I the only one who think Conor just had allergies acting up during that interview? He was holding in a sneeze, it seems. I've been there before. I don't know. So, Alex Alberto, I don't know if this is you being
You,
funny. I actually don't think that interview is as bad as people made it out to be. I want to be really careful with the words I'm saying for obvious and numerous reasons. Um, the assumption made by some is that Connor is having some issues with drugs, and I'm not sure that those are fair assumptions. Both, not necessarily that he wouldn't. I don't know. I'm not here to make those claims. Uh, the times I have seen Connor do interviews that have been concerning to me uh, have been almost the exact opposite of his actions during that. I To me, that just sort of looked like a dude who maybe has been doing a lot of stuff, is tired, and wasn't all the way there, but not some guy who was uh, crashing off of illicit drugs or whatever. So I think that maybe is a bit overblown to what the broader internet has pushed.
is this Connor's? Remember when Chuck Liddell, that famous interview, he
Yes,
went some. Yeah, it kind of feels like this is the modern Chuck Liddell doing more,
it is absolutely the modern that. I think Chuck's was substantially worse than
way
Connor's.
worse, way worse.
Um, and ultimately it was fine. I think the
Yeah,
same thing here.
we also a bit gotta remember, like Jake Gyllenhaal, like we talked about. We talked a little about this on our other pod, which you have listened to. But Jake Gyllenhaal, he's a professional actor. He's done these kind of media circuits over and over throughout movies in his whole career. This is the first time Connor's doing it, and so the interview we're watching, he's probably done maybe 20 other
30.
interviews right before 30 interviews. So really, there should have been a handler that would have just said, you know what, we're only doing Jake this interview. Jake Gyllenhaal, Connor, take a break. So it was kind of a mess up, I think, on the Roadhouse PR crew to even put him out there.
Yeah.
But I'll just say he did lots of interviews and he was just tired.
Yeah. There have just been there, like I said, there are just far more other, much more concerning interviews than that one. It wasn't good. Not here to say that was a good look. To me, that is much more explicable in positive manners than check any of his red carpet interviews, like in the promo where he like I was much more concerned than those.
Yeah. And our last super chat.
Woo! T-Ball Paul. That's a great name. Since this card is 0 Meshew stars, maybe a Meshew meteor will land on the Apex tonight. Buddy, I got to tell you, every Apex card 0. That's why we've introduced the fart system. That's fights above replacement tussles. Mo Usman throwing combos at McParkin right now. Fights above replacement tussles, aka what are the fights that are above just generic average fights? As you guys expertly noted on the previous show, we got 14 veterans of the Contender Series, so that can tell you how many of these are replacement fights. Newsflash: 2 was my answer. Still the early days of the fart system. We'll figure out how this scoring progresses, but seems like our average for Apex cards is about a 4, so this is a below average Apex card. But again, doesn't mean you can't have fun. It doesn't mean it can't exceed expectations. Be Fluffy Hernandez tonight, UFC Vegas 89. Do better than what we think you're going to be, and you'll leave us happy and bemused at how good you ended up being. And on that note, Casey, let's fire off our picks real fast because
All right.
we're going to be to the end of the first round by the time we wrap this up. They are moving through in real heavyweighty fashion. What is the main card? Main card starts with Luis Pajuelo taking on Fernando Padilla in a featherweight bout. Casey, what do you got?
I'm going Padilla KO round 3.
I have Pajuelo with a TKO in the second round. He's a Contender Series guy. I liked pretty high on him. He's super fun. Won't be shocked if he loses, but couple of Contender Series prospects off the show this card that I do like. Billy Quarantillo taking on Yusuf Zalal in a featherweight fight. Casey, who you got?
One of my favorite fighters to watch, Billy Q. I have him winning a dominant decision.
I also have Billy Q by decision. I won't say dominant just because I don't know. Zalal has looked good since exiting the UFC. Yeah. Granted, against far worse competition. The dude he beat right before this was, I believe, 0-0. But still, I still think there's plenty of juice left in Billy Q. Peyton Talbot taking on Cameron Simon in the low-key banger of the evening, a bantamweight bout. Casey, who you got?
Talbot decision.
Got Talbot second round KO. Guy I'm
KO.
very high in. One of the guys was the highest on the most recent season of Contender Series. Only had they signed like 30 dudes, and I had like 6 or 7 of them as like legitimate top shelf prospects. Another one, just shout out Andre Lima on the undercard. Legitimate, like a dude I'm very high on. Edmund Shabazian taking on AJ Dobson, middleweight bout. Casey, who are you with?
Shabazian round 2 and a surprise submission victory.
Ooh, that's spicy. I put in Tapology Shabazian by decision. That feels dumb. If he's going to win, it's probably not, but I'm locked into that, so I guess I'll stick with it. Shabazian by decision. Your penultimate fight, Carl Williams taking on Justin Tafa in a heavyweight contest. Casey, I'm just going to spoil it for you. I'm taking Carl Williams, Atlanta boy, training out of ATT Atlanta. That's the gym I trained at for years before I got too old and broken to do this anymore. So I gotta rep my boy and let's go with Carl Williams.
Tafa KO round 1 because if he wins, that's the way he's gonna win.
It's absolutely the way he's gonna win if he wins. And your main event, Amanda Ribas, Rose Namajunas. Casey, sounds like you think Thug Rose is getting back on the winning track. Tell me if I'm right or wrong.
You are wrong. I am picking Amanda Ribas with the upset tonight, and she will win a 49-46 decision victory.
Wow. What an upset pick. I'm taking Rose. I think that she should win this fight. I think she's going to win this fight. I've got her by 4th round KO. Amanda Ribas is not is not fragile, but when she does lose, she tends to get knocked out, and you get those extra rounds. Rose, I think is finally going to put together a KO that's not in a title fight where she's an underdog. So I also think that she might do well in the Apex without the crowd and all that pressure. I think that this could actually be a good venue for her in that regard. So we'll see, though. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. You hear the music because the fights are going. We're about to start round 2 of Mick Parker versus Mo Usman. When this is all said and done, we'll be right back here for the post show. Have no idea who's on it other than you and me, Casey. I assume some other people, maybe Rick. Who can say? But we'll see you then. Love y'all. Enjoy the fights.